Welcome back to another episode of Around the Pitch alongside Taci Batista and Francesco Porzio. I'm
Hello.
Aaron Burnell. What a World Cup final. This World Cup has been an amazing World Cup. We finally, our predictions were correct. So I'll give a little mini round of applause for us because at least my predictions have been quite off in this one. But but I want to ask you all. Let's open this up and get some reflections on the final. What were your thoughts?
You want to start today, Francesco? Always starts, so go ahead.
Yeah, we were all expecting Spain to be the strongest team, one of the strongest at the World Cup in general, and we could all see and predict the difference between the two sides. So it wasn't surprised to see that. Argentina could only win how they played, I think. So being more physical, try to, doing some, how do you say, mind games with opponent. Is the only way they could actually make it. And to be honest, they almost did, because if we look at also the last minutes, they almost scored the goal in the last second, and they could potentially bring the game to the penalties, and then it's another game. So I think the game plan of Argentina was the only way they could do it. It was a bit disappointing to also see maybe not the best performance of Lionel Messi, especially when you play with one man less, as they did after the red card of Enzo Fernandez. We always pretend Leo Messi to be the best one in the world. He was. I think he was the best player in the tournament, and I was a bit disappointed to see that trophy going to Rodri, with all due respect to a great player, but I think Messi was the best player of the tournament by far. And on the other hand, I think Argentina, they really probably the game against England, also mentally speaking, was too big for them, and maybe something was still there in their minds in the final. And I think Spain deserved to win, and we are all happy to see them lifting the trophy at the end.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, no surprise that I'm happy that they're in there because again, like the whole tournament, I've been talking about how they've been getting help. Like, of course, they have that desire, no question there, right? The team really, once they see they're losing, they try. Their methods are questionable, how they try to get to what they want. Like they're very aggressive, but that's not. If you grew up watching a Copa America and Libertadores, that's like every match. So it's not just how they play. That's a lot of people got surprised by how Paraguay play or Argentina, but that's every game, right? They play dirty. If they can do by skills, they try to do by mental games or being aggressive. So that's just how Argentina plays every time. But you can question their desire to win, and they fight for and the union of the team, the unity of the team. They really support each other, and that's really great to see. And Spain just proved that like it's not about a single player, but it's about a team effort. And when they play well together, you don't have to have the biggest names in the world in the team, which they did have, like, of course, 8 players from Barcelona. But we're talking about when they play well together, right? There's no like ego. You see Yamal like passing the balls, like they were not just trying to score himself, like being selfish. He was like really creating the plays for the team, and that's one of the biggest difference when you see like between other teams, right? And what Spain did. So yeah, they deserve to win. I was talking to Aaron before. I really think that my favorite attack this whole tournament has been between England and France. Right, I love like Bellingham, and I love like the trio from France. They just fantastic, and always like reach an amazing record just during this tournament. And so Mbappe, right, as the top scorer. But again, I agree with you, Francesco. I don't think Rodri. I think it's the second time they do an injustice because when Vini was supposed to win the Ballon d'Or, he didn't. And now we have again, like that was Messi. He could have not played the best game during that final game, but he deserved for the tournament. He always make the difference every match. So yes, I agree with that. Yeah. What about you, Aaron?
Yeah, I agree with in terms of Golden Ball. I mean, Argentina. If you take Messi out of that Argentina team, I think maybe they go out in the round of 16, let alone making it to the final. I think Spain were definitely the better team. It was a very I think in the first half specifically, I was a bit frustrated because the referee let them play. Even though there was quite a bit of fouls. At one point, I think I stopped to check it because I was like, it feels like neither team are allowing each other to get into a rhythm, which I understand. It's the World Cup final.
Yeah.
You definitely don't want your opponent to get into a rhythm, but there was a lot of stop start, and I think at 37 minutes I checked, and I think there were 15 fouls in 37 minutes, which I was just like, I mean, how
Yeah.
are we supposed to, how are we as fans supposed to enjoy this? But yeah, I think overall, I think the better team won on the day. Which, I mean, as it kept getting later and later, and Spain hadn't scored, I kept saying, "There's going to be a moment that's going to come where Messi's going to provide that little bit of magic, and that will be all Argentina needs to just sneak out of here." The red card, I think, threw that for a loop. I think should Enzo have not done that, which I don't know what he was thinking. There were people trying to say, "Oh, it wasn't that harsh of a tackle," but you're on a yellow card. You just don't put yourself anywhere remotely close to a situation where the referee has to make that sort of a decision. Like, should I send this player off? And to be fair, they could have ended up with even less than, I think they could have ended up with 9 or maybe even 8 players on the field, just the way that final went down. But I mean, at least we had a very exciting third place match. It's funny because like in the last episode, I said, I don't think we need a third place match, and then it turned out to be very exciting.
Yeah,
Uh,
I still think we don't need a third place match, to be honest.
no.
And I think it's unfair also
yeah,
that Kylian Mbappe won and now hold the record for the most goals scored at the World Cup. I think he will have it anyways,
Mhm.
considering he will be at the next World Cup and Messi won't. But the fact that Messi, saw that record slipping away in the last match because of Kylian Mbappe played
Mhm.
a game that doesn't have to exist, I think
It's true.
it's a bit of a pity, in my opinion.
And
I
even the
wonder if
goal.
when
Sorry.
Oh no, I
Even the
was going to say, I wonder
goalkeeper.
when it opens up if they'll get rid of the third place match. If as they're, I think the president of Commonwealth said that the next tournament will be 64 teams, which I don't know if that was confirmed or not, but should it be
No, it's
64?
not confirmed yet.
But they're
I
Okay,
mean,
trying.
he said
Yeah.
it. That's the expectations.
Mhm.
I think it will be more. I mean, I don't like even the 48 format team, to be honest. But I don't want to be conservative. I think that things can change. But
Mhm.
if he need to change, I think it makes more sense to have a 64 format with
Yes,
teams format rather than 48. I think I
True.
said it last time that it doesn't make sense that some teams play like that win the group play with a second place and the others play with a third place, and it's the
yeah,
same to the opposite, right? So it's not fair. While if that's a 64 teams World Cup will be definitely more equal at least. So I like it more.
yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed with you there.
And I was saying, like, even the goalkeeper, I don't think that Spanish like goalkeeper should have gotten that because I feel like from out of all the goalkeepers, he's the one that did the last save, like the least amount of saves because they didn't have like they only had one one scored goal, which means like yes, he did save, but again, I think like the whole team in the defense like did a good job to keep him from having to work so hard. But I really think that we had other goalkeepers that deserved that, like more than he did. Even though I knew like they got the 3 players, even the youngest player like him, but I don't think like he deserved to get that as well. I feel bad, but like they won, but I don't think like that the 3 picks were the right one for that
Yeah,
final. But and just finally, so I can let you coach you. But like I was thinking about like the 6-4 formats. When you think about this, so it's like it's just like another way for them to profit from our teams, to keep engagement, right? Fan base, and so, like also the media consumption, right? Like they had a crazy viewership like through this News World Cup, especially partnering with influencers. Like it completely changed the way Americans and the whole world watch like all the games interact with the stars. So I think like that why they're trying to expand the model.
yeah, and I mean, as the World Cup opens up to 64 teams, I'm interested to see who will be chosen as host nations moving forward, because that's a lot of teams and a lot of infrastructure needed to host all of those teams. Obviously, I know that the format now of gone are the days of a single country hosting the World Cup, but I think that it's going to have to be, we're going to see a lot of the same countries hosting the World Cup if it goes to
Mhm.
64 moving forward. I know they're already, especially here in the US, people are already talking about 2038 maybe coming back to the United States, which, I mean, obviously the country has the infrastructure to host it, but I do think I enjoy that. I enjoy the days when the World Cup was in very different locations. It provided its own different feel, and so I do hope that that essence of the World Cup can stay the same. I mean, even this next tournament, some matches in Uruguay and I think Argentina, and then some in
Yeah.
Morocco and Spain. In my opinion, they should have just
Yeah.
kept it in. If you want to do this, the Centenario celebration, keep it in South America and go from there. But I understand obviously why they couldn't. But
I really like the format of the Euros in 2020,
Mhm.
21. It became 21 when it was basically everywhere in Europe, but the last four games they were in England. I think that's a nice format as well. And I think it's hosting a World Cup for a country is really becoming really super expensive compared to the past,
It's a
right?
burden
So it's
more
not
than.
possible anymore for just one single country. Imagine like a country that is not the United States, like we had in the past, South Africa. We had many others that maybe today wouldn't be able to host a World Cup. That's the only way they can do it. For example, the one in 2030, having Portugal, Morocco together with Spain. I think it's a nice thing at the end. I like that kind of idea of bringing the World Cup to a more worldwide scenario. Maybe I don't like the idea that the only country that will be able to host a tournament by themselves is going to be Saudi Arabia in 34, because that's more political and more.
Mhm.
It's another story, right? So I think that's going to be the last World Cup for a while that will be hosted by one single country.
yeah, which I mean, as you mentioned, like I think that is the beauty of the World Cup. I think even like for example, look at Germany. Germany hosted what was it, 2006 World Cup? I mean,
Yeah,
Yeah.
Germany has some of the best infrastructure in all of Europe, and I don't think Germany could host. And it's one of the largest countries as
Yes.
well. And I don't think they would be able to host a 64 team tournament on their own. So it just shows it shows the logistical problems that this presents.
because it's not just about the stadiums, it's also about like the 64 infrastructure for every single team, and you need
Yes,
to provide the best possible experience for all of them. It's not that
yes,
there are no like 64 infrastructures at World Cup level in any country, but maybe just in the United
Yeah.
States, because you
yeah,
can include other sports as well. But in
yes,
Germany or in Italy we don't have the one for Serie A, I imagine, for 64 teams, right? So
And not even that, right, Francesco? If you think about even the players, right, like how it changed like the performance to have to be traveling a lot for every match. Like when it's closer distance, like you're saying, Morocco, Portugal, Spain, it's very low, like it's close distance. Like it's a short flight. It's gonna be very. But like if we're talking about South America, Europe, like those are long overnight flights. It
yeah,
also disrupts like their preparation, like for each game. It's not going to be fair if someone had a 2 hour flight and the other one had a 10-hour flight to get to the game and prepare for it. It's completely different. And the time zone and all these differences that also affect like the performance. So again, yes, one game Centenar, like yes, it's a first game, it's fine, but like the transition, we saw what happened with Iran and the pressure of them playing and having to fly right away after to go back to their center, like in Mexico, right? So we saw like how the disruption already happened there and the mental impact that also had on the players.
definitely things are changing, and on that note of things changing, unfortunately this World Cup was we think will be the last World Cup for many of our favorite stars that we have seen for so long: Messi, Ronaldo, potentially Neymar, of all of our legends who are leaving the game, or leaving the World Cup, excuse me. I need to make sure because they're not done
yeah.
yet. But who would you say went out in I guess I'm trying to think of the right word here, in the best way possible, because obviously none of them left in the way that they would have wanted. All of them would have wanted to obviously leave with the trophy as well. But who do you think cemented their legacy the best with their
Messi,
performances?
100%. Like there is no even doubt in this answer. I think Cristiano Ronaldo didn't leave the way he wanted for sure. Neymar, yes, he scored a penalty, but it was a
I
miracle.
didn't
He
get
was at
full
the
time.
World Cup,
Yes.
and then Lionel Messi. If there is always this kind of comparison with Maradona, this World Cup again gave us another example, because exactly like Diego Armando Maradona, he lost the final 4 years after winning the World Cup in '86 and then in '90, and then Lionel Messi in '22 and '26. I don't think he will be able to play at the 2030 World Cup, but never say never. I think this is the
Never
end of
know.
the cycle for the Argentina national team. If I have to put €1 or $1 on a player, one of these that will be playing the World Cup in 2030, it's Cristiano Ronaldo more than Messi, to be honest,
I can
because
now embrace
he,
Jesus.
yeah, because he said that this is going to be his last World Cup, but 2030 World Cup is in Portugal. Now they
Mhm.
hired a manager, Jorge Jesus, who is one of the closest managers to Cristiano Ronaldo. So, I mean, I don't think he will be there anyways, but if there is one between the two that I think has a chance, it's more Cristiano than Messi.
Mhm.
But to answer your question, 100% Leo Messi.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think like that we had like of course like Messi left like much better than all the other stars, right? Like that, which was sad to see. Like so many Modric, like it was really hard to say goodbye to so many of them in the national team. But Messi, of course, like he had to make this last amazing run because everybody expected them. Even though Pelé is the only one that has three titles, I just have to say, has a good, the legendary goats. But there, of course, is an amazing player and has like changed the history. But I do like I have to say some of the younger players that I loved seeing was Elise, like from France. Like it was really fun to see the highest number of assists for a team, like breaking like new records. I think it would be fun to see like I'm saying more like towards like the next World Cup games, like that I would like to see. Love to see Neymar recovering and coming back with Ancelotti working for longer, and they did sign a petition to ask Ancelotti to stay for the 4 years because the switching so many coaches it destroyed also like that base like for the players to play together and have one coach. And now this main manager being Ancelotti, Neymar, Danilo, all like the main players that are probably not going to be there for the next one, made a petition to ask him to stay. So we'll see what happens in 2030. We have like amazing new stars. And also, I have to say, I just love Nico Williams. Like, I just love
yeah.
him. I think he's such a great player, and he changed the game when he went in.
Yeah.
And I loved the thing I loved that he did the most wasn't actually on the field. Obviously, he could have scored one, and he obviously had the assist in the final. But my favorite thing that he did was I saw after the match, the first person he ran to was to give his medal to his mother. I thought that was a great touch.
Yes.
We
Beautiful.
always love to see those types of things from players
Absolutely.
as well. You mentioned players coming up. I think we can close this out with who. Let's take our way too early prediction of who the breakout star of the next tournament might be.
Well, I kind of mentioned some, but Yamal too. I think like he didn't make his best World Cup yet, and I think like we'll see a lot more of him the next one. And I hope to see Hendrik and Estevão and João Pedro for the Brazilians. I love them, and I really hope they get a good chance like the next one.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be the 2030, the World Cup of Lamine Yamal. This one, I think the injury he had in April had a really impact on this World Cup. He wasn't fit. He wasn't at his best. You could see that. He was improving a bit in the last games, but this was not the level we were expecting. But I think he was excused. And then I think there are so many already storylines about Lamine Yamal in 2030 because he's going to be, let's say that two of the three countries hosting the World Cup are his family, basically. He's from Spain, of course, he's from Mataró, but his dad is from Morocco. And I mean, that has to be his World Cup already. So I'm going for him as well.
Yeah, Lamine is a great shout. I mean, obviously, Michael Elise had his breakout moment this tournament, but he's still quite young himself. I think he'll be in his prime next World Cup, which will be an interesting one. One player, I'm going to take a really big long shot on this one, and let's hope that I'm right. Because if it is, then I'll look like I really it'll be a good prediction. But I think I'm hoping for Rio Ngamoa from England, the Liverpool winger. He was with England before the tournament, and he looked really good in their friendly. I think it was down in Tampa, Florida, against I want to say New Zealand. He looked lively. Obviously, 4 years is a lot of time. 4 years ago, for example, for England, Elliot Anderson was I think in League Two. So a lot can happen in 4 years. So we shall see. But this has been first of all, I want to thank both of you. This has been great being able to talk World Cup with you both as we've gone on. We're at the end of our time now, but obviously we will be coming back in the fall. We're going to take a little bit of a break, and then we'll be back to provide more storylines and talk through more things. So I'll toss it over to you two if there's anything else that you all would like to leave our viewers with.
No, it was great. Thanks so much for your time. It was great connecting with the two of you. Can't wait to see all the next stories we'll be covering in the fall. So have a nice little break.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you all. We'll see you all in the fall.
Bye.